Everyone your age is being told to slow down, take it easy, rest more, sit when you can, and that advice, given with the best of intentions, may be quietly shortening the very independence it claims to protect. Because here is what almost no one explains to you. The single most powerful thing you can do for your body after 70 is not a supplement, not a special diet, not a machine at the gym. It is something you already know how to do. You did it as a toddler before you could speak. And done the right way, for a few minutes a day, it can change how many more years you spend on your own 2 feet. I am talking about walking, but not the way you think. This is Senior Wellness Daily. I'm James Coleman, and for the last 11 years I've spent my time on one question: what actually keeps people independent after 60? Not what keeps them alive on paper, what keeps them lifting their own grocery bags, driving themselves to their own appointments, and getting up out of a chair without reaching for someone's arm. I am not a physician. I read the research, I sit with the studies, and I bring you what the evidence actually says, in plain language, so you can carry it to your own doctor. Let me start with a number, because this one stopped me cold. Researchers analyzed data from more than 16,000 women, all 60 and older, and tracked them for years. The women who walked around 4,400 steps a day had a 41% lower risk of dying during the study than the women who barely moved. 41%. Let that number sit for a moment. Not from a marathon, not from an hour on a treadmill, from what amounts to a slow walk you could finish before your coffee gets cold. And here is the part I want you to hold on to until the very end of this video, because it is the thing almost everyone gets backwards. It is not really about how far you walk. There is one specific detail about how you walk that the newest research says matters more than distance for keeping you out of a walker and out of assisted living. I'll tell you exactly what it is near the end, and when I do, I suspect you'll want to try it tomorrow morning. Stay with me on this one, because it costs nothing and takes no extra time. Before I go further, I want to ask you something, and I ask because I read what you write back to me. In the comments below, tell me your age and tell me one thing you still do every single day that you are quietly proud of. Maybe it's your garden. Maybe it's your own stairs. I want to see it. This channel is a room full of people who refuse to be counted out, and your comment tells the next person they are not alone. Now, here's the part that matters. Let me explain what is actually happening inside an aging body, because once you see it, the walking makes sense. Think about an old house that sits empty through a long winter. Nobody runs the taps, nobody opens the windows, and when spring comes, the pipes are stiff, the hinges have seized, and the whole place smells like it forgot how to be lived in. Nothing broke. It just went unused, and unused turned into unusable. That is close to what happens to muscle, bone, and balance after 70 when a body sits most of the day. The decline doesn't arrive as a dramatic event. It arrives as a slow settling, one unused week at a time. After 70, adults can lose muscle at a rate that accelerates year over year if nothing is asking those muscles to work. The legs go first because the legs are what you stop using when you start sitting. And the cruel part is how invisible it is. You feel fine in your chair. You feel fine at your table. You only discover what you've lost the day you reach for something on a high shelf and your balance isn't there anymore. Walking interrupts that settling. Every step is your body weight pressing down through bone and muscle, and that pressure is a signal. It tells your bones to stay dense. It tells your leg muscles to stay awake. It tells the balance system in your inner ear and your feet that it still has a job to do. Stop sending that signal, and the body, being efficient, stops maintaining the equipment. Here's the honest version. Your body is not trying to fall apart. It is trying to save energy by letting go of anything you no longer seem to need. Walking is how you tell it every day that you still need all of it. Let me put real numbers on this, because I never want you taking my word for it. An international team of scientists, the Steps for Health Collaborative, pooled 15 separate studies covering nearly 50,000 people across 4 continents. When they looked specifically at adults 60 and older, they found something that should relieve anyone who has ever felt guilty about that 10,000 steps target. The benefit for older adults leveled off somewhere between 6,000 and 8,000 steps a day. Past that, more steps did not buy you more years. In plain terms, for older adults, the finish line is closer than the fitness trackers led you to believe. You were never behind. The target was simply set for someone half your age. And that 10 to 1,000 number you've been chasing? It came from a marketing slogan for a Japanese pedometer decades ago. There was no science under it. None. You've probably been carrying guilt for missing a goal that was invented to sell a gadget. So what does this look like day to day? That's what the rest of this video is for. I'm going to walk you through the simple pieces of a daily walk that the research says actually protect your independence, starting from the smallest and building to the one that matters most. And I'll give you exact amounts, exact timing, so you can do this tonight or first thing tomorrow. Let's start with the foundation. How much and how little you can get away with. Here's what most people misunderstand about the amount. They think the dangerous gap is between a good walker and a great walker. It isn't. The enormous jump in benefit happens right at the bottom, in the step from almost nothing to a little something. Consider what the numbers actually showed. Compared to the least active group, adults who simply moved into the next group up saw their risk of dying drop by roughly 40 to 50%. The steepest part of the whole curve, the part where your effort buys you the most life, is the very first stretch out of the chair. After that, the returns keep coming, but they flatten, which means the person who has the most to gain from this video is the person currently doing the least. Picture a garden hose that's been kinked shut all summer. The first quarter turn of the spigot doesn't give you a trickle, it gives you a rush, because you were starting from zero. Going from sedentary to lightly active is that first quarter turn. You are not climbing a mountain. You are simply opening a valve that's been closed. So here is what to do, and I want to be careful to make it small enough that you'll actually keep it. If you are barely walking now, do not aim for 6,000 steps tomorrow. Aim for 10 minutes. One 10-minute walk once a day at whatever pace feels natural. That's roughly 1,000 steps for most people. Do that every day for 2 weeks before you add anything. The goal in the beginning is not distance. The goal is that your body comes to expect the walk the way it expects breakfast. Here's what to pair it with. Anchor the walk to something you already do without fail. Right after you brush your teeth in the morning, right after the lunch dishes. The research on building lasting habits is clear that a new behavior sticks far better when it's bolted to an old one than when it floats on its own. Don't rely on remembering. Rely on the thing you already never forget. Now let me tell you about when you walk, because the timing does something most people never consider. There's a reason I keep coming back to the morning. Research published in a sports medicine journal followed older adults and found that those who started their day with a moderate morning walk showed sharper thinking through the day than those who stayed put. The walk didn't just move the body, it cleared the mind. And for anyone who has felt that afternoon fog roll in, that heavy-eyed hour where names slip and the newspaper blurs, this matters more than any number I can give you. Think about a wood stove on a cold morning. You don't get heat the instant you light it. You get a slow build, and once it's going, it holds warmth for hours. A morning walk lights the stove. It raises your circulation, wakes the systems that regulate your blood sugar and your alertness, and that warmth carries into the afternoon long after the walk is done. Wait until evening to move, and you've spent the whole day cold. There's a second reason mornings win, and it's purely practical. The day fills up. Someone calls. An appointment appears. The nap wins. A walk you've promised yourself for later is a walk that quietly disappears. The walk you take before the day starts is the one nobody can take from you. So here is what to do. Aim to take your walk within the first 2 hours of waking before the day has a chance to make other plans. It does not need to be long. Even that first 10 minutes, done in the morning light, gives you the circulation lift and, if you're outdoors, a dose of morning daylight that helps set your body's clock and, in turn, helps you sleep better that night. Yes, a morning walk can improve the sleep you get 14 hours later. Here's what to pair it with. Step outside for it if you safely can, rather than walking indoors. The morning light on your face is doing quiet work on the internal clock that governs both your alertness now and your sleep tonight. A walk and a sunrise are two medicines that happen to share the same 10 minutes. Now, before I go on to the next piece, I promised you a detail near the end that matters more than distance. We are getting close, but it will only make sense once you understand the piece I'm about to cover, so stay with me. Let me tell you about how you carry yourself while you walk, because a slouched walk and an upright walk are not the same medicine. When we get cautious, we tend to shuffle. The steps get shorter. The eyes drop to the floor, watching for trouble. The arms stop swinging and come in close, like we're bracing for a fall we haven't taken yet. And here's the cruel irony. That protective, careful posture is the very thing that makes falls more likely because it kills the natural motion that keeps you balanced. A fitness expert put it simply on a health broadcast recently, and it stuck with me. Walking, she said, is a full-body movement, not just a lower body one. The arm swing is a huge part of the mechanics. When your arms swing in rhythm with your steps, they act like the balancing pole a tightrope walker carries. Take that pole away. Tuck those arms in, and you've made yourself less steady, not more. Think of a grandfather clock. The pendulum swinging steadily side to side is what keeps the whole mechanism keeping time. Stop the pendulum, and the clock doesn't just slow down. It stops. Your arms are the pendulum of your walk. Let them swing, and the whole system runs smoother. So here is what to do, and it costs you nothing. As you walk, stand tall, lift your eyes to the horizon instead of your feet. Let your shoulders drop back and down, and let your arms swing naturally, bent a little at the elbow, moving opposite to your legs, the way they did when you were young and never thought about it. If you catch yourself hunching and staring at the ground, that's your cue to reset. Head up, arms loose, breathe. Here's what to pair it with. Try breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth as you go. That same expert noted this helps regulate blood pressure during the walk and keeps your rhythm steady. Nose in, mouth out, arms swinging. It sounds like a small thing. It is not a small thing. Let me tell you about Eleanor, because her story is the whole point. Eleanor was 78, living on her own in a small town in Ohio, and she wrote to this channel. I'll use her first name only, with her blessing. She told me that over one winter she'd stopped going outside. The sidewalks were icy. Her family worried, and so she stayed in. By spring, she said, something had changed. She described it plainly, and I've kept her words. Getting up from the couch had started to feel like a project. She had to think about it, plan it, push off the armrest with both hands. She wasn't sick. She was, in her own words, just tired in a way that sitting more never seemed to fix. She changed one thing, not her diet, not her medications, nothing dramatic. She started walking to her mailbox and back, then a little past it, first thing every morning, arms swinging, eyes up, the way we just talked about. 10 minutes. That was the whole prescription she gave herself. 6 weeks later, she wrote again. The couch, she said, had stopped being a project. She stood up without thinking about it, the way she used to. And then she said the line I keep coming back to. She wrote that for the first time in a long time, she'd stopped rehearsing how to stand up before she did it. She just stood. That is what independence actually feels like from the inside. It is the freedom to stop rehearsing the small movements you once took for granted. One thing before we go on. If you're watching this and you felt what Eleanor felt, that heaviness getting out of a chair, I don't want you to feel behind. I want you to feel the opposite. It means you are exactly the person this works best for. The steepest gains, remember, belong to the ones starting from the least. Now, let me tell you about turning, because this is where a lot of falls actually happen, and almost no one talks about it. We picture a fall as a trip on a walk. But a great many falls in older adults happen not while walking straight ahead, but in the turn, pivoting to answer the phone, twisting to reach the counter, changing direction to get out of the way. Walking forward is a stable, practiced motion. Turning asks your balance system to reorganize your whole body over your feet in half a second, and if that system has gone rusty from disuse, that half second is where you lose it. Think of an old rowboat. Pointed straight ahead, it glides just fine. It's the moment you try to turn it that it wobbles and threatens to tip, because turning demands a shift of weight the still boat never rehearsed. Your body after 70 is that boat. Straight lines are easy. It's the turns that catch you. The good news is that turning is trainable, just like walking, and your daily walk is the perfect place to practice it safely. Every walk already contains turns. At the corner, at the driveway, at the point where you head back home. You simply have to stop rushing them. So here is what to do. When you reach a point where you need to turn, slow down first. Instead of pivoting sharply on one foot, take 3 or 4 small steps to walk yourself around the turn in a little arc, keeping your feet moving and your weight centered. Practice this on every turn of your daily walk. You are teaching your balance system to handle direction changes while you're steady and prepared, so it knows how when you're caught off guard reaching for the phone. Here's what to pair it with. When you turn your head and eyes first in the direction you're going, before your feet follow. Leading with your eyes helps your whole body organize the turn smoothly instead of throwing it off balance. Eyes led, feet follow, small steps around. Rushing the turn is where the trouble lies. And now we've arrived at it. The detail I promised you at the very beginning. The one thing about how you walk that the newest research says matters more than distance for keeping your independence. It's your pace. Specifically, walking just a little faster than feels natural. Here is the study, and it's a good one. Researchers at the University of Chicago Medicine worked with over 100 older adults, average age 79, all of them either frail or on the edge of frailty, living in retirement communities. They had them walk, and the finding was remarkable in its simplicity. The participants who increased their walking pace by just 14 steps per minute above their comfortable pace saw clinically meaningful improvements in their physical function. In numbers, that faster cadence was linked to roughly a 10% gain in functional capacity. 14 steps a minute. That's the difference between a stroll and a walk with a little purpose in it. And listen to what the lead researcher said that gain actually meant, because it isn't abstract. He said people who've never been frail can't imagine how big a difference it makes to not get tired walking through the grocery store, to not need to sit down while they're out. That is the prize, not a number on a chart. The freedom to finish your own errands standing up. Think of an old truck that only ever idles in the driveway. The engine runs, but it never really works. And over time, it gets sluggish and unreliable. Take it out on the open road once in a while, let it actually pull, and the whole engine runs cleaner. A stroll is idling. A brisk walk is taking the engine out on the road. Your body was built to be asked for a little effort, and it repays you for the asking. So here is what to do, and here is the beautiful part. You don't need a fitness tracker. You need a way to feel the pace. Start your walk at your normal, comfortable speed for a few minutes to warm up. Then pick it up, just enough that you could still talk but wouldn't want to sing. That's roughly the intensity we're after. One simple trick the researchers themselves suggest: put on a song with a lively, steady beat and let your steps fall in time with it. Music does the counting for you. Walk to the rhythm, and your pace lifts without you having to think about numbers at all. Here's what to pair it with. Don't hold that faster pace the whole time, especially at first. Alternate. Walk briskly for 1 minute, then ease back to comfortable for 2, and repeat. Those short bursts of a little more effort are where the gains live, and the easy stretches in between let you recover so you can do it again tomorrow. Brisk, then easy, then brisk again. That's the whole secret you waited for. It really is that simple. Simple, but not easy, because the hard part isn't the walking, it's doing it tomorrow and the day after that. Before I close, I need to say something plainly, and please hear me. Everything I've shared today is educational information drawn from published research. It is not medical advice for your specific body. You have your own history, your own conditions, your own medications, and I don't know them. So take what you heard here to your own doctor or your physical therapist before you change anything. If you have heart or lung conditions, if you've had a recent fall, if you use a cane or walker, or if you've ever been told to be cautious with exertion, that conversation isn't optional. It's the first step before the first walk. Please have it. Now, let me speak to you from the heart for a moment. The years after 75 are not a countdown. I refuse to see them that way, and I hope you'll refuse too. They are a continuation, and what makes them worth continuing is not the number of years, it's whether those years are still yours to run. Independence isn't an abstraction. It's carrying your own bag of groceries from the car to the kitchen. It's driving yourself to your own appointment and back. It's remembering your grandchild's name the instant they walk through the door, and getting down to their level to hug them, and getting back up on your own. It's laughing so hard at the dinner table that your eyes water. Every one of those small freedoms rests on a body that can still move and still balance. And that body, more than almost anything else, is built and kept by walking. So let me give you the whole thing back, simply, one last time. Walk a little every day, and know that even a small amount matters most when you're starting from little. Take your walk in the morning, within the first couple of hours of waking. Carry yourself tall, eyes up, arms swinging like a pendulum. Slow down and practice your turns, leading with your eyes. And above all, once in a while, pick up the pace. Just 14 steps a minute past comfortable. Brisk then easy, brisk then easy. That last one is the piece that matters most. If this gave you something you can use, do me a small favor. Subscribe and tap the bell so the next video finds you. And answer me in the comments. After hearing all this, which piece are you going to try first tomorrow morning? I read them and I love watching you cheer each other on. Next time, I want to talk about the one thing you do every single night that may be quietly stealing your balance the following day and the simple bedroom change that protects it. You won't want to miss that one. This is Senior Wellness Daily. Look after yourself. The years ahead are still yours to shape.